Fire away.
What's been the benefit of the week off or few days off so far?
I think it's been an opportunity for us to spend some time with our guys, kind of considering where what is the next 3 weeks and next 6 weeks, and hopefully longer than that look like. Our guys have had a chance to recover and recuperate a little bit. I think emotionally and physically, and give us some time to catch our breath, which is why these bye weeks are so important. I think we're probably a little bit healthier than we've been, and we're a little bit more energized, and so we're excited to get to the next 3 weeks.
Ortega said that he didn't he understood the benefit of the bye week, but also said we kind of feel ourselves rolling, kind of building the momentum.
Yeah.
Kind of wish we could play. Do you get a sense of antsiness from them, any of them?
I think the guys are excited to compete and excited to play, and it's not going to affect us one way or the other.
Speaking of the recuperation physically, is there any update on JQ? Is he practicing at all, and any change to the timeline there?
Yeah, so he's we started him on just a very, very, very light, not even return to play, just a little rehab, and there's just a little bit of swelling that came back. So we're managing that, but it's not imminent right now.
Is there a point with him or Cam that you're, I don't know, willing is probably not the right word, but where you be to a point where you just go ahead and roll them out for the season, just to give everybody, teammates, fans, everybody, just kind of a clearer picture of what's going on?
No, because they're massively important to this team, and they're difference makers for us for sure. We're going to take them if we can get them. And if we didn't have this conversation every day, what would we talk about?
We didn't ask about it last week.
Was that a community decision? You said, okay, guys, we're not going to ask about this.
I think we ran out of time.
Yeah, fair enough.
Coach, you talked about just making changes in practice recently. What have you seen from that, and are you continuing to do some of that? And can you let us in a little more?
Our guys have been willing, so we're trying to, you get to this point in the season, and everybody's worn down and beaten down, and you're trying to save so much emotion and physicality as you can for the game. For us, that wasn't functioning very well for us. We needed to get peaked for at least a solid segment where it was kind of violently physical and combative in practice, just because it was just the makeup of this team. For whatever reason, this team needed it, and our guys have been willing to do it. I think they've seen good success from it. Today will be another really, really important test for our guys about, can we get to that level of physicality today for a couple segments in practice. It's given us good results, and we expect it will continue the challenges to get there, and I think our guys have done a great job doing it.
Speaking of physicality, Florida, probably one of the most physical teams, not just in the conference but in the country. When they beat Bama, they had 72 second chance points. So how are the guys getting ready for what's probably going to be a battle on the glass and on the block?
Yeah, it's Florida presents a lot of issues. I don't know if they're the biggest front line in the country, but they're definitely the most experienced and tenured, and have the most winning under their belts. They know exactly who they are. They know exactly how they do this. They're a dominant force. What they've done the last several weeks in the league has been really impressive. Just the margin of victory. They're really dominating opponents, and they do it with this front line. Their backcourt is playing better. They're feeling more comfortable, so I think they're contributing more. But this front line is deep, big, physical, imposing, and so it's a challenge for everybody, and it's going to be a great challenge for us.
When you watch Chinyelu, just what makes him so effective as a rebounder? He got 20 last night again, and how do you? I imagine you can't stop him, but how do you just even try to contain?
Well, you think about his matchup last night too. He's matched up with one of the biggest, strongest guys in college basketball, and still to have a performance like he did. He is he's relentless. He's really physical. I think he doesn't really feel contact. He just kind of runs through it all the time. He's got an unbelievable work ethic from a distance. That's how it looks. He'll play through exhaustion. He's really impressive. Obviously, his physical size and strength are impressive, but it's more just his force of will to just kind of get his job done is pretty impressive.
With Malachi, you said after the last game he was really aggressive in the post, physical in the post offensively. Was that a point that he made himself going into that? And is there a balance of because there was one time he had a turnover, he had a couple of good buckets as well.
Yeah.
Is there a balance of trying to be aggressive without being too aggressive? Or how did he use that against Florida too?
Yeah, so I think he was disappointed with his first half at Tennessee. I think that stuck with him over the last few weeks. It's like that's not happening again. I felt like he got a little bit dominated, especially on the defensive side, him guarding in the post, and that translated to the offensive side for him certainly in the game last Saturday. And he can't get to. There's no overkill. Like I want him to be like 100% physicality, 100% aggressiveness all the time. He is putting together a really terrific freshman season, and he's not even scratching the surface of what he's going to be. And a lot of it is going to be him harnessing his force and physicality and imposing that. He did it really beautifully in two huge possessions, one with just 2 minutes left in the game against Tennessee, where he just said, I'm not going to be denied here as an offensive player going to work. He's got the ability to do that. So we just want to keep growing that and fostering that and all gas on that for sure.
What are some other things that you really want him to improve on?
I would like for him to improve on his, he's actually got real skills as a defensive player. And I think he is versatile as a defender. He's versatile in ball screen defense. He's versatile in curl protects. He's versatile as a post defender. He's versatile as a rotational defender. He's versatile as a switch guy. His upside is really high and he's smart. And so he's one of those guys that you can actually give a bunch of free, that we're going to be able to give more and more freedom to in terms of allowing him to choose a coverage based on time and score, where it's not like we're not actually making the adjustments from the bench, which is hard to do within a possession. I think he's got a ton of ceiling there. I think he's got a big ceiling as a passer. He'll continue to get better and better and more sure as a passer. I think he's going to be able to shoot the ball. I think the sky's the limit for him.
Defensively, people always talk about the physicality with these freshman bigs, especially, and trying to adapt to that. How much of it does it take to adapt to the speed of the game mentally, especially as a defender, as a help defender, as a post defender, and kind of catch up there as the course of your freshman year goes?
But normally it takes a lot. But, normally you have freshman bigs that are turnover guys. I mean, that's just what a freshman big is. Usually a talented freshman big, usually a turnover guy. And Malachi hasn't been. He's been extraordinary. For him to be up, as positive as he is as a plus assist turnover ratio, this guy's really impressive. But you're facing a different scenario every single game. He's going to face Chinyelu, who's a guy he's never faced, like a style of play that he has not faced, and it's going to be really exciting. A front line like Tennessee is probably something he hadn't faced before. They're different than Gonzaga's front line, right? And he was in a much different role than he was before. So as a freshman, you get to face something you've never seen before. And so it's a first time for everything. It's hard when it's the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th time you're facing something. But as a first-time guy, man, he's done it incredible.
You've seen it with Otega and Mo. What's DA's process look like preparing for his former team? And would you say he's treating this like just any other game?
I think DA is pretty steady right now. His play over the last month has been phenomenal. He's had huge number of games. He went on a 4 or 5 game tear where it was just his numbers were outrageous. His decision making, he just is getting more and more comfortable. You can see him making the transition from doing his job to playing the game, right? From doing the game to playing the game. We've seen that happen in real time over the last month, where in practice too now, you see him just feeling so comfortable with what we're doing and so confident and such a believer now in trying to attack the game. We attack the game. It's been fun to watch him grow. He's just a solid dude, man. He's a competitor. The brighter the lights, the more excited he gets, the more capable he gets, and he functions well there. So I expect him, as the season progresses, to just get better.
Out of timeouts and to start games and halves, feels like y'all had a really good success rate with those. Do you have any numbers you can share of like how efficiently y'all are doing it, and have you seen it improve throughout the season?
You know, we were disappointed with our performance on offense and defense on UOB possessions from last year. So we've made strides on both sides of the ball there. ATOs were not actually as efficient as we were last year, although I think we're really growing into it. I think we're making progress there in ATOs, and that's all part of us knowing each other and our guys knowing each other. But it's a place where we feel like we can affect the game.
Have you guys, unless you've changed it up, I think at halftime you and the assistants meet in kind of one area and the players kind of meet together in the other area. Have you noticed when you come together toward the end of that break, maybe a mood change, maybe the Tennessee game Saturday compared to Michigan State, Gonzaga, maybe guys a little bit more cohesive or locked in or not as daunted by the big deficit?
Well, our guys, we certainly know each other better. I think our guys have earned confidence just by their resilience and their refusal to kind of stay down. I think our guys understand the process better. Our expectation is we go as a staff, the team goes as a team, they get a chance to kind of diffuse, kind of let some of the emotion go away, and then to be really constructive, talking about what they have. And then when I walk in the locker room, the first question always is, all right, what do you guys have for me? And the guys talk first. And you know, I think our guys are getting used to that process. I think it's a pretty unique process. I don't know who else does it, but for me, it's really important. Like, I don't want to waste time telling guys stuff they already know, and I also want to know what they're seeing in the game. I think that's one of the things that helps us with our adjustments in the game is me hearing what the guys are feeling and seeing, and they're already, you know, focused on already, so that I can just touch on those things and then move into spaces where maybe they're not seeing the game. So I think we're better at it. I think we're just better. It's the course of a season. You get better at it.
It's another tough road environment. Is there any emphasis on certain things so you'll have a good start, maybe like the Arkansas game minus the technicals, of course, versus how the Vandy game or other road games go?
Yeah, I think that's been a movement rather than there's a change right now. So that's an iteration that we're trying to continue on in the process of being more solid. So we'll continue with the changes we've made, and hopefully they'll continue to have a positive impact.
There's so much attention on the Florida front court. What have you seen about just kind of the growth from the back court, their consistency? I
think they're growing into what they're doing too. I think, you know, you probably had the most productive ratio-wise game that they've had so far against Georgia. And I think they're under, you know, it's for both those kids coming in new to this Florida front line. I think there's, you know, I don't know anything about the ins and outs of their program, but just from a distance, I might speculate that it would take that backcourt time to understand what they had, because what they have is really unique. And so trying to figure out how to work in the context of that, I think it would be understandable if it's taken some time. I don't know if it has or not. That would be for them to say. But they're really talented players, and they're playing better.
What have you seen specifically from Boogie? I know I think 0 assists last night, but his assist numbers were really up until last night, and he seemed to just be getting a little more comfortable. I
think he's a terrific offensive player. On film, I'm impressed with what he's doing defensively. Like, I'm really impressed with his impact on the game defensively. He's he's a steals guy. He's a passing lane guy. He's pesky. He's got some, like, on film, it looks like he has some length that's problematic. He's challenging passes out of ball screens. He's kind of having a real impact on the game there. And before I started digging in, that actually surprised me a little bit. I just hadn't paid that much attention to specifics on the team, but I think he's having a real terrific impact on the defense side. Clearly, he's a talented offensive player.
How would you assess the limited zone defense that you've done so far this year? Do you see yourself using it in Florida at all?
I think we've been solid in picking and choosing our places to use it. We may have underutilized. We may have underutilized some of our changing defense It's probably got a little more space in the game for us, but I think we've been really strategic, and the numbers have borne out to be pretty positive for us. And I think it's something we'll use. We'll use some changing press and some changing defenses probably in every game as we move forward. We have just about every game so far this season, and it's just a way for us to change up the feel a little bit, just give teams a different look. I think sometimes it just helps us refocus on the game. It's just kind of, instead of being focused on the flow of the game or the emotion of the game, it dials you back and be like, okay, I have to think about this possession right now. So we'll continue to use it that way.
Ortega talked about one of his recent interviews about Saturday being for the SEC lead. Have you kind of stressed that at all this week?
I'm not making a big deal about it. It's like this is a great league play. Like there's. I don't know how congested it is in this space, but every team in the league is like separated by one game. So, it's like a game. The goal is not to be, in first place halfway through the season, to be first place at the end. And so this game matters. The game on Tuesday every game is so important. So I don't think we'll spend a lot of time on that, but it's just every game is big.
When you scout this Florida team, obviously they had some hiccups early on in the season. Do you go back and look at those early games and see like where maybe they improved to get rolling now, or do you just look mostly at what they're doing recently?
We'll cherry pick games where we feel like teams were successful guarding them and successful scoring on them, but we'll give way more weight to the games that are recent because every team is evolving. So, sometimes you want to go steal something from an early game, something you see, but they're like, man, they've actually answered that question. So it's a little bit give and take, but we'll pay attention. We'll start kind of digesting teams with recent games and then the anomalous games, and see if there's something in the anomalous games that has some staying power, and that's pretty standard for every scout.
You talked a lot about the growth and evolution of Florida, but to kind of piggyback off that, you all have had some hiccups and now you all are rolling. So, what about the growth and evolution of your team from that Gonzaga-Michigan State game to, now?
I'm proud of our guys. They're just trying to figure things out, and we still have a lot of this season left, a lot of growth. There's a ton of growth in us. It would be naive of me to think that we're not going to have any more difficult stretches. We will, but what gives me incredible confidence with this group is that they keep getting up, right? And to get up, you have to get better and learn. And this has been a learning group. It's a group that's been really resilient, and will continue to be that throughout the rest of the season. And I think it's going to give us a chance to land in a good spot. No more questions. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.